Hey, Internet friends, is there any stopping the complete and total collapse of Western civilization? Does anyone have any good ideas? Comment below.
While you're typing, I'll read off the report I've compiled on the U.S. economy. In May 2025, the American dream is on life support, with entire neighborhoods turning into corporate portfolios. Houses are unaffordable for the middle class. People are financing burritos. Guys, I've been doing these reports for a time now, tracking how many dollars the Federal Reserve printed, how much money the U.S. government gave to BlackRock, how many food processing plants caught fire. The average home price, I've never seen anyone finance a Subway footlong until recently. Listen, we're just going to dive right into the U.S. economy, and I gotta warn you, it's not pretty. Remember when a six-figure salary meant you'd made it? You could buy a house, raise a family, go on regular vacations without having to sell your kidney. I remember in high school, if your dad made $100,000 a year, you were rich. You probably had a finished basement and a garage refrigerator with name brand popsicles. Y'all probably had like a lake house, a pony, or a camper. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, those days are gone, even though they weren't really that long ago. In 2025, earning $100,000 a year, which is a lot, feels like poverty. Don't believe me? Let's just zoom in. In 1960, the median home cost was $11,900, with an interest rate of between 3 and 4%. The monthly payment for a house like that with a 4% interest rate on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage would have been about $56 a month. Families could live on one income with a starter home comfortably. Even when interest rates peaked in 1981 at 18%, the average home price was about $70,000, meaning at the top of the top, you were paying $1,000 a month. Then interest rates fell over the coming years so you could refinance. By 1982, interest rates were 13%. In 1995, home prices were $110,000 with a 10% interest rate. And I just want to say at this point, homes were still built to a standard where you could feel good about buying one and leaving it to your children. Fast forward to 2025, the average home price is $416,000, with the monthly payment being around $3,500, which is going to be more soon because mortgage rates just hit 7% this week. $416,000 is a 40-fold increase from 1960, but our wages haven't gone up 40-fold since then. In 1960, full-time workers earned $4,700 a year. In 2025, full-time workers earn $66,000 annually. People are commenting right now saying I'm being inaccurate or unfair for not adjusting for inflation. I don't have to. Their dollar was stronger in 1960 because it had more purchasing power. All purchasing power decreases as the money supply increases. Because according to Realtor.com, you need $114,000 a year just to afford a median price home. That's $47,000 more than you needed in 2019. Just let that sink in. In 6 years, the income required to buy a house jumped 70%. And what do you get for your $400,000 new build? I'm not saying all of them, okay, but leaky roofs, faulty wiring, you name it. These homes start at $375,000 and climb from there. Meanwhile, the National Association of Home Builders says 60% of households can't even afford a $300,000 home. So who's buying these homes? Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is BlackRock. This asset management giant with over $11.5 trillion in assets has been snapping up entire neighborhoods, outbidding first-time buyers with cash offers. They're turning the American dream into a corporate rental empire. And who's behind BlackRock? A man named Larry Fink, whose family tree was a mystery until a 2021 investigation by Corey's Diggs, who uncovered his roots. Fink, born to a Jewish family in California, climbed the ranks not just through grit, but through connections to powerhouses like Lawrence Rockefeller, Michael Milken, and the World Economic Forum. Larry Fink went from being a failed bond trader in the 80s to managing the 2008 financial crisis cleanup for the Fed. And over 10 years later, he was orchestrating the going direct reset with the Federal Reserve, pumping trillions of dollars into the system while regular folks got crumbs. BlackRock works directly with the U.S. government and was awarded funds and contracts through the CARES Act of March 2020.
BlackRock was awarded these key government contracts to help with the meltdown with no competitive bidding while being enveloped in secrecy. Basically, Larry Fink was hired to be the manager of Washington's bailout of Wall Street, even though BlackRock is one of the biggest shareholders in the same banks they were helping to get bailed out, making Larry Fink the most powerful man in the post-bailout economy.
Now, BlackRock's buying up homes, driving prices through the roof, and making it impossible for the average family to compete. In Metro Atlanta, corporate investors like BlackRock and their shell companies now own 30% of single-family rental homes, according to the AJC. They're not just buying houses, they're buying control. And it's not just limited to Atlanta. By 2030, institutional investors could own 40% of America's single-family rentals nationwide. The idea of American prosperity has been systematically destroyed by military contractors and oil business-backed mainstream media. And private investment firms turned government contractors like BlackRock, working alongside Rockefeller Medicine and Bill Gates' mad science Big Pharma, under the banner of the World Economic Forum, to make us a nation of renters with a short life expectancy. Just pick yourself up by your bootstraps. That's what the older generation says. If only both the mom and dad worked, they could afford a starter home. Never mind only seeing your children on the weekend. But wait, there's an extra layer to this lasagna. And it's the whole process of getting a job nowadays. There's a trend of fake job postings or ghost jobs in which companies post listings without any intent to hire. And this is for multiple reasons. These fake jobs create a false sense of competition, discouraging higher wage demands, making employees feel replaceable and expendable. And of course, these ghost jobs inflate job numbers and job creation, hiding the weakness of the economy. There are numbers being thrown out that almost 25% of these job postings are fake, with 40% of companies admitting to posting fake jobs. I'm sure the figures are way higher than what's being reported. And does any punishment happen as a result? Absolutely not.
What are the ghost jobs and why are they even posted in the first place?
Ghost jobs are like the online dating app of the work world, except when you swipe right, there's no one actually there. Frustrating job seekers because they put so much time and effort into putting a resume together, filling out these long applications online, just to find out that the job doesn't actually exist.
Combine this phenomenon with the advent of DEI hires, millions of undocumented immigrants, and AI layoffs. Not good. Not good at all. But let's just say you scraped up enough cash for a down payment. Surprise, mortgage rates just broke 7%. A $450,000 loan at 7% over 30 years. You're not paying $450,000, you're paying over $1 million by the time it's done. Babylonian debt slavery. And with rates this high, most Americans are locked out of the market entirely. But fret not. If you can't afford a home, you can still live the American dream. On credit. The buy now, pay later schemes like Klarna are booming. 100 million users and counting. Buy now, pay later, a credit card without a card. This is what we've become. We're not a nation drowning in debt to achieve the American dream. You know, a house, a white picket fence, a family, a nice car, and a dog. We're a nation drowning in debt over buying a Subway footlong and a table and chair to eat it at. And the demoralization doesn't end there. It's not just housing. Life expectancy is slipping. Americans are sicker, dying younger, and we're too broke to fix it. In the media, they'll tell you everything is fine. The government, everything they do is to keep the illusion alive.
I could argue in the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations. Okay, that's something that most people never talked about. You know, we always used to think shrinking population is a cause for negative growth. But in my conversations with the leadership of these large developed countries that have xenophobic immigration policies, they don't allow anybody to come in, shrinking demographics, these countries. And so the paradigm of negative population growth is going to be changing. And the social problems that one will have in substituting humans for machines is going to be far easier in those countries that have declining populations.
So let's revisit my question from the beginning. Will anything stop the collapse of Western civilization? We haven't even touched on the degradation of culture or the declining fertility rates. When entire generations are priced out of homes, when corporations own our neighborhoods, when young people are financing their meals, that's not a civilization. That's a house of cards. I do find comfort in knowing that empires and civilizations have always risen and fallen, a constant cycle. And through it all, normal everyday folks keep going. They're unbroken. It's just the illusion that cannot endure. No one's coming to save us, not the politicians, not the bankers, not the private equity firms. If we want to rebuild, it always starts with us. Seeing through the lies, living within our means, and fighting for a future that's not owned by Wall Street. What do you think, internet friends? I always look forward to your comments. Thank you so much for watching, subscribing, supporting my channel on Patreon, and buying my book, The Deep State Encyclopedia. Bye.